Welcome everybody to Seth Song, our meditation meeting. Craig Kimbrough, Positive Guru. As always, glad to have you along for our journey into the world of all positivity. I figured before we got into our subject matter for this week, I would discuss the Positive Guru Wristband, the movement. We've had this wristband just for a little while, and not too long ago I had discovered that if you wear it in a certain way or you do certain things with it, you get better results. At least in the way in which I was doing it. The way I was doing it, I put it on and I expect to remind myself whenever I look at it that, hey, I'm a positive person, you know, I'm moving forward with positive expression and all of that good stuff. And it worked pretty good. It was, you know, it was nice. I enjoyed that aspect of it. I noticed, and I talked about this a little bit last week, I noticed that when I would wear it, a lot of times I look up and 2 or 3 days have passed and I've still got the wristband on. You know, maybe I've worn it in the shower and everything else, but I still have the wristband on. And one day in the morning I looked at it, I was like, oh, I still have this wristband on. And I realized that I had forgotten that I had it on the day before and forgot to even consciously remind myself of the fact that I am a positive guru, I am a positive person. Not that I don't view myself as a positive person all the time. So I thought, and I said, you know what, it's probably better if I take this thing off every night and then put it back on the next day. When I put it back on the next day, I reaffirm. So I tried it and I've been surprised at the results. I started doing this each day, taking it off and putting it back on. So I decided to make up instructions for the for the wristbands. Anyone that already has them, I'd be happy to give out instructions if you want a copy. And so from now on, it comes with the instructions. Now I was going to read the instructions because it does make a difference. I always have a habit of experimenting with things, like with the book. I experimented before I started suggesting that people read it in a new way. But you know, it starts off saying thank you for purchasing the Positive Guru Wristband, enjoying the Positive Guru movement. It says the following are instructions for maximum benefit to help spread more positivity to the world. It says in the morning, or the start of your day, put on your I am a Positive Guru wristband. I do that first thing in the morning. It says while putting it on, remind yourself, I'm a positive guru. I am positivity, I am peace, I am oneness, I am love. During this time, commit to and expect to being a positive force, doing at least one positive act today. Then go about the day. Such an intention will often cause you to create more positivity in your world. And of course, do more positive actions. When you find yourself doing unusual positive acts or seeing unusual positive results, write them down in a journal you have specifically for this. In the meantime, be open to ways of being positive and be sure to constantly do one positive thing that you normally would not do. Do not go to bed without doing some positive act, even if it is calling an old friend or someone in need or praying for or meditating on someone's well-being. Take the wristband off and place it where you won't forget it for the next day. This is important. Do not sleep with it on. Put it back on the next day and start the process all over again. Do this every day and see how your life changes. Go to PositiveGuru.com and search for wristband movement for more clarity and to share any positive experiences with this process if you choose to. Once you've seen the results, purchase a positive wristband for a friend who you think may be open to this. Ask them to do the same. So I've tried it on numerous occasions and I've been seeing if this makes a difference. And I have been very pleasantly surprised in my way of being in the world. Even just yesterday, and I try to be positive, I try to do positive acts anyway, I always have, but it's been more of a concentrated effort for me. One of my acts yesterday, and I hate that I didn't write down all of them, because there's a few that I really liked that I can't remember, but the one that I did write down that really caught my attention was last night, after going to see the Adventures movie with my wife Debbie and my son Jordan, we were in Myers, and while we were in there, we were picking up different little things, and she had to pick up some toothpaste. So we're going into, so there's this one aisle, and we're looking for the toothpaste, and I know the general area, and I said, well, it's probably this aisle or that aisle. And I look down the aisle, and I see the guy working in the aisle, you know, stocking shelves and so forth. And I've seen him many times before, because I go to this Myers often, and he tends to work like around that time, midnights or something like that, or, you know, to the wee hours of the morning. And I looked down, I was like, oh, wow. I said, well, you know, because I felt him, like, not wanting to look our way. And he has, I don't know, this disease where his face is, like, grown, like, really large on one side. So, I mean, it's really large and sort of deformed. And I felt for him, and I felt him, like, kind of purposely looking, not looking towards us. And I'm not saying he's the only one that does that in Myers, you know, in the wee hours when they're stocking. Some people look, some people speak, some people don't, or whatever. But I felt him, like, not wanting to look our way. And I felt, and I could tell that it gotten a little bit worse than it was the last time I saw him. And I felt bad for him, and I felt uncomfortable. And then I said, wait. This is your positive act. Go speak to him, and that'll be your way of letting him know that, hey, I acknowledge you. I'm not uncomfortable or whatever. So she was going down the aisle to get her toothpaste. I came down the aisle, and I just, you know, I just looked over and said, hey, how you doing this evening? He says, oh, I'm doing well. And his speech was slurred because his face was deformed, and he said, I'm doing well, how are you doing? I said, I'm doing good. And he says, well, can I help with anything? I said, yeah, you know, we're just looking for toothpaste. I said, actually, I guess we found it. And he says, yeah, well, we've got this kind right here, and it does this, this, and this. We have this kind right here, and it does such, such, and so-and-so. And this one right here. And I mean, the aisle was long, and it was all toothpaste. I didn't know you could have that many different types of toothpaste. And it had different types of whitening toothpaste, this Colgate, that Colgate, that Colgate, that Colgate, this Crest, that Crest, this close up. I mean, it was just ridiculous. And he's breaking them all down to me. You know, this one does this and this one does that. This one, you buy one and you get this one. This one has this deal. This one gives you this back, and this one gives you that back. I'm like, oh, I said, okay, well, thank you. And I noticed as he was talking to me, he was just really happy that someone was talking with him. So he was just going to share it. It was his chance to get it out and just share something and be acknowledged. And you know, afterwards when I left, I really was thankful that I took the time to do my positive act, and that was it. Because I've seen him other times, and sometimes I say hi and keep going, but sometimes I would shy away just out of sort of feeling embarrassed for him or whatnot. But not anymore. Now it's elevated me to a new level. Next time I go in, I want to find out his name. I want to, you know, have just little short conversations with him whenever I see him or whatnot, just to make sure he feels as comfortable as possible. Well, that was one of my positive acts for yesterday, and it really felt good. And I've been just doing them more and more and more, and sometimes it's just really been mind-blowing, the things that happen. Absolutely mind-blowing. I talked about one of them in here where one of the first days when I told myself that, hey, I'm a positive guru, I do some type of positive act today. Sometimes I will pick it, I'm going to do this, and other times I will have no idea what it's going to be. That day I had no idea what it was going to be. And that day I came into here, and I didn't need to come here that day. I actually found myself saying, I'm going to go into the meditation center today. I'm going to go into the office. My office is across the hall, so I'm going to go on in today for a hot minute. And I didn't know where I was going, because it was during the time of year in which I don't come into my office that much, and that's the business is seasonal, so I don't come into the office that much that time of year. And it was not a day anything was going on in here, but I came in anyway. I just want to just stop in and meditate for a minute. I just meditated here for a minute, just bring the place more alive. I came in, and I've told this story before, but never on camera, but my next door neighbor was in there. We began to talk, and And he was talking about how he had some things going on, why he could not fly for a while. And I was telling him, well, I didn't even like flying. And I was telling him why. And I was also telling him, you know, my son has anxiety, so I like to be able to be contacted if he has any issues or whatnot. But I was telling him things have gotten so much better. And I told him about all the struggles we had at the school he was at last year, and just how it's like night and day, how everything is just so wonderful now. And I was telling him, he was asking me questions, so I was telling him my trip down that road, so to speak. And then he began to talk to me about his, and we never talked quite this in depth before. He began to talk to me about his granddaughter, how she had an injury, a brain injury, and the problems that they had with the school after the injury that happened in the school, and how difficult that particular school was making it for his granddaughter. He was relating it to all the difficulties I had in the one school system, because I moved to a whole new school system because of the issues, and how he was talking about the similarities of the problems. And next thing I know, he says, what you got going on today? He's looking at his watch. I said, not a lot. This is our slow time of the year. I said, I don't know, you know. He said, well, why don't you come on to lunch with me? I said, okay. We never gone to lunch together before. I was like, okay. He says, yeah, my wife's expecting me in a few minutes. I was like, your wife? He's like, yeah, you can come lunch with me and my wife. I'm like, no, that's all right, you know. She's expecting you. I think she's expecting me to come too. Oh, no, come on. But I agreed to go. And the whole time, I'm just saying, what am I doing? I remember us riding from here to Olga's, where we're going to have lunch, and I'm just saying, what am I doing riding with him to meet his wife for lunch? What is she going to think when he says, hey, this is Craig, he's having lunch with us? You know, and she's looking forward to lunch with her husband or whatever. But I said, for some reason I'm feeling it, and I'm supposed to be riding in this car. So I went. We got there, and he's like, hey honey, this is Craig. And she looked kind of strange, like I expected. And I'm sitting there feeling uncomfortable. And then he says, you know, he's got an interesting story. I want him to share with Craig. Tell me a story. Tell a story about, you know, what happened with your son and how great things are now and the challenges you have with the school system. And so I tell them, and then they relate to me all the issues they have with their granddaughter and so forth. And I forgot to mention his son, the daughter's father, is a doctor. And so, you know, they have a lot of access to other doctors and surgeries and so forth. And there's been some things that have helped, and then some things that they're still working on. And, you know, and when they were talking to me, he was saying, tell me what else you do besides the gutter business. They're asking me about the gutter and window business and so forth. And I said, well, I teach meditation. And the wife was like, wow. He says, so how long you been doing that? I says, oh, I don't know, 20-something years. He says, before your son and anxiety. I said, yeah. He says, isn't that interesting? Almost like it was meant to be that you already knew this stuff. I said, yeah. I said, it's been a wonderful journey. It's difficult at times, but it's been wonderful. And by the time it was over, we bonded so much. And fast forward, now I'm home in the evening, thinking about my day. And then I'm thinking about them, and thinking about what a wonderful time we had and everything else. And I began to think about one thing that I said, well, how's your son doing? He says, well, it's hard for him because he said, you've been able to impact your situation. You know, luckily you had all the resources you need. You had where your stepmom used to be head of special ed in one school system, so you knew people, you were able to bring in experts, you were able to tell them that this is what my son needs, this, that, and the other. You've also had this, you've had that, and then you were able to have your meditation and help the whole situation, and now everything is just great. He says, man, you know, you're able to impact it. So with him, it had been the same. He's a doctor, he's taking all these other doctors, but still, this is going on and that's going on. I thought about all of this, and I was like, man, it didn't dawn on me. I was like, but it's the same situation. Everything they need is right there. It's just that they haven't traveled all the way through to the other side yet. And then I was thinking, I was like, that's why he wanted me to go. I was like a sign of hope. Yeah, you can make it to the other side. yeah, you're gonna have to do this, yeah, you're gonna have to do that, but you can make it to the other side, and you have all the resources already. Just keep the faith. And I thought about it. I said, oh my God, that was my big positive act for the day. I kept asking myself, why am I doing this? I said, I feel like God wants me to do it. I don't know why I'm doing this. And when it hit me hard. I could barely feel my body. And I said, I didn't even have to figure out what it was. It just happened. And it's been one situation after another where I just felt like I needed to contact someone who I barely knew, and then later on found out they were going through something. But it's been a phenomenal experience for me. So before we got into our thing for today, I just want to say that acting it in that spirit has made a much difference, a big difference for me, as opposed to just wearing the wristband and trying to remember or remind myself when I look at it. But actually going in it with that much intent has made all the difference in the world. And some days it's been the end of the day and I realized that I hadn't done anything unusual, and I say, what can I do right now? You know, who needs some prayer? Who needs some meditation? Who needs reaching out to? But it's been phenomenal. It has changed my life, and it is changing my life. So I just wanted to share that. For the rest of our meeting, I wanted to kind of focus on some of the things we were talking about last week, or it kind of goes along with some of the same theme that we were on last week. And I even had a few posts that I put up, and I put these posts up based on things that I was experiencing. One thing that I explained last week was that I had things hitting me harder than usual. So much to the point to where, I don't know if I went into that much detail, but so much to the point to where I didn't even know how I was going to move forward at one point. And I just really decided that, hey, you know what, I've got to, as my teacher would say, you know, the kind of problems you have, you got to meditate all day long. Back when I was explaining the issues I had, and then he would say, "Sonny, you got to meditate more." I said, "Meditate more? I meditated this time. I meditated that time. What are you talking about?" You know. And then he's like, "Well, you got the kind of problems you have, you got to meditate all day long." Now he didn't mean that I'd be sitting there all day in the meditation position, but I have to have my mind on God all day long. This past week I opened up Parahansa Yogananda's book, Divine Romance. And the page I just randomly opened to was talking about that. It was talking about how as you go into your day, you go throughout the day, almost like letting God act through you, or with God in mind. And the things that you're doing them on account of God, on account of being an expression of God. And I've been trying to move forward in that stage, but the big thing that I've been doing was just chanting my mantra more, chanting the AUM mantra more. And so I've been going, hey, you am, hey, you am. A lot of times not out loud because there may be people around, but just in my head. And each time I'll make sure that I did it 10 consecutive times. One of these days I knew I'd stopped counting when I got to like 100 times. But I thought about, I think it was Leon Spinks that was in prison that was doing like 1,000 push-ups a day or something like that back in the day. I'm like, man, 1,000 push-ups a day. No wonder he's cut up. He's like 1,000 push-ups a day. Man, they're ready, you know. And I'm like, but you know, the mind is like a muscle and like you know, something that can be exercised and built up also. I was like, so just imagine if I'm doing AUM 1,000 times a day, you know. Imagine where my mind is going to be, you know, it's going to be built up. I didn't count to 1,000, but just whenever I remember, I at least make sure I got to 10 times. And then I might think about it again, hey, let's do 10 more. Hey, let's do 10 more. Then I'll be out about, hey, time to do 10 more AUMs. Next thing I knew, the issues I had were gone. I didn't even feel them. And I mean, I was like, wondering how I was going to get up and just move through the world or continue. But the issues I had, they were gone. They were not touching me at all. And I've just been, the past couple of weeks, I've just been talking about it like constantly, just about, it's amazing, because it's been totally amazing to me. I've been able to handle things that I thought I would not be able to handle. And I've been able to like come into the situation, bringing more light into the situation, bringing more positivity into the situation, situations that I normally would get angry and upset about. I've been coming strictly positive, and as I did, the positivity's been coming right back to me. It's been amazing. One day, my friend calls me up, and he's shocked. He was like, man, I'm just feeling so good. And he's talking about these issues that he had. And he's just like, I said, what? I said, what you been doing? He says, man, you know, I've been chanting my mantra. He says, I said, that's funny, I've been doing that. So he says, yeah, I know, you've been telling me about it. You've been talking about it in class and whatnot. But he was having